Hello everyone, the following videos are a couple of videos of things that I've done in the past that turned out to be true, just to show that this isn't fake because, I get a lot of criticism in the line of work that I do. Now, also just to show the time frame, you can see how long my hair is now. These are my dreadlocks, they're pretty long now. But, way back, I had shorter dreads. And, people attack me for being psychic. They also attack me for my hair as well. Regardless, these are some videos of the past that show what I can do. So this is an old video of mine. You can tell how short my hair is here, how old it is. This is from December 29th, 2020, where I was predicting what would happen in the next couple years. And I predicted 2022 would be pretty rough, and I mentioned a war, and I even mentioned Joe Biden working with Ukraine, and there being some sort of issue with Russia. So here we go. 2021 psychic predictions, 20 when I posted it. Hello everyone. So I was just meditating, and I just had next year on my mind, so naturally I just started reading 2021, and what was coming to me was that 2021 will be kind of a stabilizing year. It will be mostly stable, but then I was seeing 2022 there being a lot of, the way I was seeing it was like lack energy, and when I tuned into that to see what that was about, it was like pain and suffering and like possibly the loss of people to wars. That could be more symbolic. I'm not trying to say that there will be a war in year 2022, but there's a possibility that something like that could happen that will be pretty bad for the economy and just a lot of suffering and lack of, resources and people around in people's lives, and just seeing a lot of suffering in that regards in year 2022. Although that could change as time progresses, but right now that's what I'm seeing. So when I tuned into 2021, I see what kept coming up for me was I'm seeing Joe Biden and him being president and being in like a tight spot, so to speak. And I mean that in the sense of him trying to make deals with other countries. I do see him stepping forward to other countries, possibly Russia, but Ukraine for some reason came up. So there's a possibility that he may be trying to work with Ukraine in some way. But I'm also just getting that it's going to be, him trying to make a lot of deals with the world economy. So it goes on for a while, but I also want to mention that later on, after the invasion did happen in 2022, I predicted that Russia would steal the land of Ukraine and that Ukraine would lose and not defeat Russia. At the time, everyone disagreed with me and called me crazy, but now people are starting to see that it's more and more so likely, and a lot of people are convinced that Ukraine is in fact not going to take the land back from Russia. So that's where we are, a little bit of a past prediction and maybe a future prediction as well with this one. Following the war in 2022, there was a sabotage of the Nord Stream pipeline in the ocean, which was to the south of Sweden. Here's some news about that, just in case you didn't hear about it.
Sabotage is thought to be behind 3 leaks in the Nord Stream natural gas pipelines connecting Russia to Europe. Gas bubbles have formed in the Baltic Sea off Denmark and Sweden. The Danish military has released these images of the gas bubbles. The leaks were first spotted on the radar of a passing ship. Denmark has since banned shipping from the area and imposed a no-fly zone. The Nord Stream 1...
So just in case you don't know, this was a pipeline that went from Russia to Germany, I believe.
and it got blown up and they blamed it on Russia, but, well, let's just say, I don't believe it was Russia. And it was a big deal because it cut off gas from Germany that could have come from Russia to Germany when they may need gas. It was also a really big deal because of the amount of money put into it, but also the amount of methane gas released, and the fact that this could not be done without extreme, well-trained people from a military. And later on, after blaming Russia, the US government said that it was pro-Ukrainian forces, but didn't decide to say who exactly. On my Patreon page, I answered that a long time ago, and I'm just going to say it starts with a country that starts with the letter U, but is not Ukraine. Now, this is where I actually predicted it before it happened. So, I predicted this December 22nd, 2021, and that was before the war even broke out. So, of course, how would I have known that there was going to be a sabotage on a pipeline? But anyways, let's see what I said about this.
And new trade agreements.
By the way, this was a reading on Sweden and Finland, and naturally this just showed up out of nowhere about trade agreements.
With the countries to the south of Sweden. However, there may be a battle in the ocean near the shore. I was seeing there possibly being even potentially explosions going up onto the landmass or affecting just the shores of Sweden. That would be the southern shore, specifically where there's all this trade route activity that I'm seeing coming up in the future. So that could be problematic, but I don't really see it being detrimental to the whole of the country or being like the end of the world or anything too extreme. And I kept getting that it would, in the long term, actually only strengthen the country by creating the initiative to change and evolve and strengthen its economy. And sometimes negative things spur positive growth.
More recently, I've made a prediction about an illness, and I made a video about myself making that prediction, so I'm just going to play that video for you.
Maybe you've heard about the new disease.
A measles outbreak in Chicago. Local officials now say at least 8 people at a migrant shelter have tested positive this week.
So here right now to answer questions is Dr. Shira Daron, the Chief Infection Control Officer for...
Now, that's coming out now, March 18th. 2 months ago, I predicted that March would be a month where there would be a disease coming out. I specifically said this on December 29th, 2023. Let's hear what I said about it so that we can know whether or not we should be afraid or not.
I was also getting around that time there could be some illness, like a disease that influences more poverty-stricken areas of the world. But I also wasn't getting that this is going to be the big deal that people may think it may be, because I was seeing that it mostly fades away going into February, although it may come back in March is what I was giving. But from there, it doesn't seem to get worse or continue at that rate. It seems to slowly dissipate, so I don't see it being a long-term epidemic, just in case that becomes a fear on people's minds.
Okay, so there you have it. Predicted a couple months in advance, and that video is January 2024 Psychic Predictions Golden Light.
Now, more recently, it's actually been a while ago, I made predictions about the Balkans, and specifically Montenegro, because someone requested that I do a reading on that location. And what I was getting was that far into the future, there were going to be terrorist groups that take over that area, but more so to the north east, which would be kind of around Ukraine. This, of course, I predicted before the war with Ukraine started, or before Russia invaded Ukraine, at least in 2022, that is. But anyways, since then, and I was saying that it was going to be due to the destabilization of the economies of the general area. And now I know why, because now there's this war causing destabilization of the economies of that area. And recently we've actually seen ISIS reemerge and bomb Russia, do a shooting, and I think there were explosives as well. But regardless, they killed 130 people in a stadium in a terrorist attack on Russia. So here now we're starting to see that emerge with more terrorist activity. So here's my future prediction for me to leave you with, which is that I'm seeing Ukraine basically falling apart as a government and being replaced by smaller groups of organizations. You could call them paramilitary organizations, but also terrorist groups as well. And these groups are going to cause a lot of problems for a very long time. And Ukraine is not going to do so well in the future. Russia, I don't see Russia taking over the world, but Russia does seem to take over a large portion of Ukraine, but a lot of Ukraine just seems to be just barren wasteland, where there's just this battling between all these different factions going on. So that's what I will leave you with. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe for monthly psychic predictions every month if you have not subscribed yet. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.